Hey everyone, my name is Melanie Jin, and I'm the CEO of Travelstrings. Travelstrings is a publishing platform for online storytelling. And before we dive into the presentation, I thought I'd give you a live demo of how storytelling works on our platform. So forgive any bugs, I'm crossing my fingers that it actually works. Perfect. All right, so I'm going to try and manage the mic and pressing the clicker at the same time. So the core belief of Travelstrings is that there's a universal need to tell stories, whether it's about the antelope hunt that we went on thousands of years ago, or the story that I told about my adventure to Peru. We all have stories to tell, and that's how we communicate our life experiences with other people. Stories are important, and there's different ways that we currently tell our stories. Sometimes people use blogging platforms like WordPress, and other times people tell stories through social platforms like Facebook. But each of these mediums has their own problems. WordPress, you're starting with a blank page, and even once you've compiled a brilliant idea, written it down, and posted it to the world, where's your audience? You have to go find an audience who really cares about the subject you're writing about. And when you're posting things on Facebook, it's definitely easier to find an audience and easier to post content, but how do you string that content together into a coherent story? These were problems that we wanted to solve when we realized there was no easy way to tell stories online. Our solution are simple, beautiful story strings. Strings with text, photos, maps, and emotions that really highlight the story behind an experience. In terms of our target market, we're already aware that people post 300 million photos a day on Facebook, and a subset of those photos have difficulty telling the story behind them. So we're focused on capturing the stories about personal accomplishment, whether that's about graduating from college or running a marathon. And we're also focused on capturing group adventures, like the travel story I told about my friends. In terms of monetization, we allow people to print their strings into physical storybooks. And we're also talking to a few organizations about giving them separate subdomains to host their own unique stories there. Our end vision is in creating a unique story graph where we organize content by story or experience rather than by friend. Stories have unique properties, namely, who was at an event? What happened? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Those types of elements, when organized, allow users to find and discover content that's most relevant to them. In terms of our team, we all just graduated from UCLA, from a program called Startup UCLA, UCLA's first accelerator program. We received investment from friends and family and moved into cross-campus just a few months ago. We also released our beta product last December. We'd love for your help with beta testing, mentorship, and any advice you'd like to give us, so feel free to talk to us afterwards. Thank you, guys.
Any questions?
Thank you for the presentation. Seems like you guys have a great product. You're already very far along. How do you plan on competing? I know your monetization was selling these books. How do you plan on competing with the already existing online presence of companies that do the same thing, where they create books?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there are a lot of companies already in the print publishing photo book market, companies like Shutterfly or Snapfish. But the way I see it, those companies are kind of stuck in the last generation, if you will. Their build process for storybooks takes 20 minutes to multiple days. I know I've tried to make books on Shutterfly before, and I spent hours obsessing about how the tiles were going to look and what my captions were going to be. And so we're not offering the same product. We're offering a simpler product. So it's not going to be for everyone, but we hope to capture a market of people that aren't even making storybooks right now.
So earlier you mentioned that you have a feed into Facebook because it's kind of fragmented and whatnot in terms of how the information flows. Yeah. So how would it actually show up on Facebook then? Because as I see Facebook today, it's just a collection of photos that you just posted, right? But now you have some kind of a story being told. So
Right.
how's that presented?
So you're asking how would it be shared back onto Facebook?
What's the context for the presentation of those, what do you call it, travel string photos within Facebook, as opposed to the existing?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Basically, when we push back out to Facebook, we're limited by Facebook, so it's not going to look like how it does on our website, so the stories do live on our site. However, we can push out like an open graph notification saying, hey, Melanie created a story string about travel, like Peru. Yeah, so it'll still show up for like a lot of people are used to the newsfeed in Facebook and they're almost addicted to it.
So it'll show up as individual photos then?
No,
It's still
no, it'll be a
private?
link. It'll be like if your friend posts a link.
I see.
Yeah.
So you leave Facebook and go to the other.
Yeah. I mean, we have, it exists in its own website, but so Facebook offers this thing where it can exist inside Facebook, so it's like opening an iframe. Have you ever done that? So you don't have to leave Facebook, you can.
So you said one of the problems with WordPress is that it doesn't have a big audience. Facebook obviously does. What is it about your platform that's going to get people audience when they create stories?
Right, yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's two elements to the question. The first is how engaging is our content, and the second is how do we reach an audience that doesn't currently exist on Travelstrings? So the first part of the question, in terms of engagement, we've released the product 2 months ago, and with each story that's been posted on our site, there's an average of 100 to 200 unique visitors, and those visitors spend about 5 minutes looking at the story. So in comparison to a WordPress blog, the average WordPress blog minus like the top 25 blogs, including like TechCrunch or other blogs built on WordPress's site, they have about 6 visitors on average. I'm not talking, yeah, so on average that's pretty low. And so our content is more engaging, WordPress has low engagement, and we're going to be highly integrated with Facebook. So you capitalize on the large market of Facebook by sharing back out to Facebook, and essentially that higher engagement sharing out to Facebook, hopefully there's some correlation there.
Yeah, and if you saw the story graph slide that we had earlier, that's basically our like machine learning program. So like the more you post, basically it learns what kind of stuff you like and what kind of stuff other people like, and it'll suggest, to read your story if yours is more relevant.
Okay, thank you so much, Travelstrings.